Good morning, everyone. If we could remain standing for the South African National Anthem. Thank you so much. If we could please be seated. Okay, good morning again. My name is Reina Mudli. I will be your program director for the day. I am currently the chairperson for Western Cape as well as EXCO member. I now invite to stage the Koala Brothers for a performance.
Amazing grace, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Amen. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Wolale lamfana age utulemban ukunyangeteku age utulemban ukunyangeteku age utulemban ukunyangeteku age utulemban ukunyangeteku ulalele sikulumangete ulalele sikulumangete age ulalele sikulumangete age ulalele sikulumangete kwanani ethekwini kumnandi ngoba unolwandle khonane eThekwini iICC khonane eThekwini iPavalio oseThekwini amahotela nekethweni khona neThekwini isikhumulo semikhumbi abanye bathi semtateni ukhona lisho mfana eceleni kweKings Park basanda kusakhela ikasino thina eThekwini kukhona ikisha airport Moses Mapita eThekwini kukhona umkhandlu omkhulu kunayo yonke imikhaya masipala umongameli wokuqala amadoda omnyama eSouth Africa uMandela wavotela phi eThekwini inhlangano yamazwe wonke e-African Union yalontshwa phi eThekwini ongquthela yomhlaba yokuqeda ubandlululo yabanjelwa phi eThekwini bonke abantu bafuna ukuseThekwini wasekhona ufuna ukuseThekwini wawuphi nesi ufuna ukuseThekwini waphesheya wezilwa ufuna ukuseThekwini thina leThekwini sigibele igagasi thina leThekwini sasigibele igagasi woza wena uzobona woza wena uzojabula woza wena uzobona woza wena uzojabula thank you. All right. Dondova, thank you very much. Thank you. Dondobala unwelo lude silo samabandla unwelo lude silo samabandla unwelo lude hlanga lomhlabathi unwelo lude kangezwe lakhe unwelo lude silo samabandla unwelo lude silo samabandla unwelo lude hlanga lomhlabathi unwelo lude kangezwe lakhe khona umenjalo ndabesitha silo samabandla lezo ndaba zinkulu lezo ndaba sogcotshwa kwakho silo samabandla lezo ndaba zinkulu lezo ndaba sobekwa kwakho silo samabandla alivumizwe khothamizwe alivumizwe khothamizwe khothamizwe alivumizwe khothamizwe kuliphi izwi lethu esashoyo kuliphi izwi lethu esashoyo kuliphi sisho ngemphi utulize usikize uhaha sisho ngemphi utulize usikize uhaha uyayivumela iphi uyayivumela uyayivumela iphi uyayivumela babe ngapha thina singapha kwavumuki babe ngapha thina singapha kwavumuki usuzu usuzu wenkulumo yandaba wenkonyane kaNdaba,
Wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
bona manje,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
sola manje,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
eThekwini,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
kwaNongoma,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
Ohlweni,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
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 wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba, wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba, wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba, wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane,
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba,
wenkonyane kaNdaba.
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kaNdaba.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to the Colwell brothers. Okay. At this point, may I call upon the dignitaries to please take the stage? Yeah. Sure. Delegates, just to remind us on the House rules, is if we could please keep our name tags with us at all times to the duration of the conference, if we could please download the event app and use the full functionality of it. As the dignitaries make their way to stage, the board sat last night in trying to sum up the conference, and we put it as town planning is a fundamental to our discussions. It's not about designing spaces, it's about creating environments that enhance quality of life, address challenges, and meet diverse needs. And in essence, through thoughtful planning, we can build resilient and sustainable cities. Can I go ahead? Okay. Okay. I here call upon the Deputy Mayor of eThekwini, Councillor Zandile Amieni, for the welcome address.
Program Director, Mr. Mutli, our Honorable Minister of Human Settlement, Ms. Momoloko Kupai, the DGG, the SAPI President, Dr. Johannes Mulati. All protocol is indeed observed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think you have heard the taste of what eThekwini is all about. If we had a lot of time, Honorable Minister, I was going to showcase what do we do as women when such performance happened, but in the interest of time, I said I will do it the other time. On behalf of eThekwini Municipality, we want to give you the warm welcome to this 9th Planning African Conference. We welcome you from all walks of life, the local and the foreign delegates, to our beautiful city. We wish to express our appreciation to the guests and the presenters who have taken a precious time out of their schedule to come and be part of this important conference, which is held under the theme Sustainable Future from Theory to Practice. On the 9th Planning African Conference marks the midpoint of the implementation of 2030 agenda, as it considered to be the good time to reflect on how planning fraternity has contributed towards the sustainable urban future. As we enter to this post-COVID-19 era, communities expect us as government to work closely with the private sector to come up with the solutions to address the mid-development challenges. Colleagues, the communities want us to come up with immediate solution. The Cold War between engineers and planners must come to an end, colleague. I'm not going to dwell much on that one. It is a matter of the public record that municipalities, particular metros, are facing a huge developmental challenges as people are moving to the cities to draw for the better opportunities. The projection indicates that by 2030, 5 billion people would live in the cities. In 2015, a number was 3.9 billion. That means that the global population growth towards 2030 will be almost doubled from what it is currently. As a eThekwini municipality, we are already feeling the strain of the migration, as we currently have 600 informal settlements. As the current government, we took a decision at council to provide electricity, water, refuse collection, access road, and the pathway in those informal settlements. It was also a part of the effort to mitigate the disaster in a form of making a point that we provide the solution which are entrusted with the planning. Colleagues, the situation we are facing, it dictates to us that we change the way we have been planning. We are now facing a lot of new normals that we are living in, to mention a few. When you look at the weather now, even those scientists, sometimes they even fail to predict it. But we know for the fact, Honorable Minister, that as a eThekwini municipality, as a coastal city, we are at a high risk. That alone should make us to plan in a different way from what we used to. It is also paramount, colleagues, that as we continue to engage, we also look at the different model that we can use from where we are. Because at the end of the day, it's all about us sharing knowledge that will indeed reflect on the status quo we are living on. Before I descend this podium, Honorable Minister, as a eThekwini municipality, we always want to make it a point that such gathering, they assist us in order to find the current mitigations, because ours, colleagues, is to change the status quo. I thank you, Program Director.
Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor, for your address. I now call on stage Dr. Johannes Molauzi, SAPI President, for the official opening of conference.
Thank you very much, Reina. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister for Human Settlements, Mamboloko Kubai, the Honorable Deputy Mayor, Councillor Zandile Mieni, the DDG from the Department of Spatial Planning and from the Department of Land Reform and Rural Development, Mr. Clinton Hen, I saw him there. We also have the DDG from the Department of Human Settlements. The chairperson of the South African Council for Planners, Profana, the acting CEO of SACPlan, Mr. Bongmusa Ndwandwe, I saw him. Let me also acknowledge the present of the President of Commonwealth Association of Planners, Professor Juasilia, the President of American Planning Institute, Ms. Angela Brooks, the delegation from the Planning Association of Burkina Faso, they are also here, the former President of SAPI, Mr. Yusuf Patel, the Planning Africa Conference Coordinator, Mr. Peter Gilmore, delegates, authors and speakers, esteemed guests, good morning. I'm honored to officially declare the 9th Planning Africa Conference 2024 open. Honorable Minister, the Planning Africa Conference is SAPI's flagship program, which aims to facilitate knowledge exchange, share ideas, and showcase practice across the planning fraternity. As a non-profit organization affiliated to SACPlan, which aims to promote the planning profession, SAPI uses the Planning Africa Conference to provide the profession with a profile, identity, and a voice. It also functions as a forum for all the people in planning to debate critical issues affecting planning and development, both locally and internationally. The Planning Africa Conference also provides a unique platform to gather and reflect on our journey as an organized professional contributing to spatial transformation, urban rural development. Honorable Minister, Deputy Mayor, and fellow town planners and delegates, the Planning Africa Conference 2024 is taking place when the world is recovering from the negative effect of COVID-19 pandemic. The recent disaster caused by heavy flooding and earthquakes that took place in parts of South Africa. KwaZulu-Natal, I think, was also affected, Eastern Cape, Western Cape, and Gauteng, has cautioned us that climate change exists and requires urgent planning attention. The conference will not only promote the planning profession across all the sector of planning fraternity, but create a unique platform for planners to engage and find sustainable solutions on these issues. This is in line with the conference theme, which states sustainable futures from theory to practice. I'm proud to announce that the SACPlan has approved a Planning Africa Conference 24 for continuous professional development, CPD points. This great news means that delegates, presenters, reviewers, and authors for this conference will be rewarded with CPD points. A special welcome to the international delegates, African delegates. We hope to see you in future Planning Africa conferences. A word of appreciation to all the delegates, sponsors, authors, presenters, speakers, and SAPI volunteers. Without you, the conference will not come to reality. Sincere thanks to our partners, SACPlan, the Department for Land Reform, Rural Development, Department of Human Settlement, KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Department of Kokta, Salga, eThekwini Metro for the general support. On behalf of SAPI Board, I hereby declare the Planning Africa Conference open. We are looking forward to the debates from all parties present here that will culminate in a successful conference. I thank you. Program Director, allow me to introduce our guest speaker. because we don't have time, so I'm going to render that item. Delegates, town planners and colleagues, our keynote speaker today is Minister Kensani Kubai, who is a Minister of Human Settlement. She's also a Member of Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. She was recently reappointed to this portfolio of human settlement, which she led since 2021. Minister Kubai is the co-chairperson of economic sectors, employment, and infrastructure development cluster in cabinet. She's a member of the National Executive Committee and National Working Committee of the African National Congress. She is currently serving as the chairperson of the ANC Economic Transformation Subcommittee. So when we speak of transformation, she's the relevant person. Before her current role, she served as a minister in 5 portfolios. 1, it was tourism. 2, science and technology. 3, communications. 4, energy. Lastly, she's acted as a Minister of Health at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Johannesburg, a postgraduate diploma in project management, a master's degree in public and development management from Wits University. She has completed a program for leadership development at Harvard Business School. She is currently pursuing her PhD in state-owned enterprises, corporate governance at the University of Johannesburg. Minister Kubai served a full term in 2029 as a member of the Global Artificial Intelligence Council established by the World Economic Forum Center for the 4th Industrial Resolution. As a part of the council, she and other global leaders provided strategic guidance to the international community on priorities for artificial intelligence, machine learning governance, cooperation, and shaping global policy development. Lastly, in 2020, Minister Kubai joined other global leaders as a member of the Forum Global Future Council on Sustainable Tourism, a multi-stakeholder knowledge network tasked to advance innovative thinking for a more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable future. Allow me to request you, delegates and colleagues, to rise as we welcome Minister of Human Settlement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Let me acknowledge the program director, Mr. Mutley, who has been driving the program so sterling since we came in. Acknowledge Her Worship, the Deputy Mayor of eThekwini, Councillor Zandile Myeni, the President of the South African Planning Institute, Dr. Johannes Mlaudzi, Chairperson of the South African Council of Planners, Professor Mafaniseni Shilongo-Nyane, Chairperson of the Housing Development Agency, Osingobe, Ms. Angela Brooks, Chairperson of the American Association of Planners, government officials from all spheres of government, including our state-owned entities and private sector participants, all members of the planning, both in the country, the continent, and our international guests. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Gathered here today as shapers of the urban and rural landscape of the future. Amongst you resides a skill through which the social and economic outcome of the future generations will be determined. I trust that the conversations that you are going to have in this conference will go a long way in ensuring that you use your skills wisely so that we can achieve a more equal, prosperous, and integrated communities in the future. Urbanization is a global phenomenon that planners in South Africa, Africa, and the world need to grapple with as a matter of agency. Ladies and gentlemen, looking back in 1950, less than 1 in 3 of the world's population was living in cities. Since then, the world has undergone such a drastic change, where that by 2015, urbanization had progressed to such an extent that over half of the world's population resided in cities. And the rate, it is not abating that we will be able to see expansion. And the expected expansion that we are expected to see in 2050 is that 6.3 billion people, or 2/3 of the world population, will be urbanized. From a sustainable development perspective, cities drive the economy and are also the dynamo of climate change. The rate of urban spread exceeds the rate of urban population growth, which makes it difficult to plan. Small and medium-sized settlements are growing fastest. This growth places demands on existing infrastructure, and infrastructure augmentation needed is expensive to retrofit. Despite the economic, social, and environmental importance of urban development, it has often happened without effective planning. Where planning legislation has existed, the process of making plans for land use and fiscal development has not kept pace with the rate of urban growth. Once prepared, plans can be instantly out of date, and the task of enforcing regulation of development is time-consuming and costly. Out-of-date plans also can criminalize the poor, who did not wait for the plan before accessing land and therefore developing an informal settlement or slums, as the Deputy City Mayor has just said. If you look at what we have across the country, and I always say we have about 4,600 informal settlements and growing. Plan preparations, approval, and enforcement has been overwhelmed. Detailed regulation of land use is expensive and unaffordable. This is the reality that we find ourselves as South Africa. The planning tradition emphasizes the need to envisage and prepare for the long-term future. By so doing, it also recognizes that people, place, environment, and economy are all connected to each other. However, if we are to achieve the better future for all envisaged by the new urban agenda and in the Sustainable Development Goals, then we need to change the way we do planning. We must proactively seek to shape our space with a view to achieving spatial justice, which in our case requires us to break the apartheid spatial development. Ladies and gentlemen, the climate change effects are on us. We recently, as a country, experienced rapid occurrences of disasters. Not only are they rapid, but they are massive and displace communities. We're finding ourselves more and more as the Department of Human Settlements having to grapple with people who become homeless overnight. And at times you end up with 1,000 families homeless overnight. It becomes difficult to plan for, it becomes difficult to respond to, and it becomes costly to be able to deal with. And this leads to many of our communities being unhappy with us. And that's why as we do and deal with the issues that we're grappling with, one of the areas of development and areas that we would want to focus with or on as the department is around alternative building technologies. But it needs all of us to be able to work to say, how do we implement innovative technologies to assist us in terms of our building, but creating spaces? And how do we, as planners, respond and guide in such an area which is much needed and urgently needed to be intervened to? Now, in the publication Leading Change, delivering the new urban agenda through urban and territorial planning. UN Habitat positions that planning must be rights-based. It must integrate development with infrastructure. It also emphasizes that there must be strong focus on implementation that is informed by budgets. To be sustainable, planning must secure political legitimacy and must be alive to subsidiary and diversity. To keep up with the pace of change of population and migration, planning must be clear, simple, and rapid. Planning must respect and capitalize on the special characteristics of space being planned for. The Leading Change publication argues that if done well, urban and territorial planning contributes to increased human security by strengthening environmental and socio-economic resilience, enhancing mitigation of and adaptation to climate change, and improving the management of natural and environmental hazards and risks. Ladies and gentlemen, government plays crucial roles in planning and developing sustainable settlements. Each sphere has key responsibilities in our case and functions in fostering sustainable settlements. Highlighting the integration of human settlements, environmental and economic factors, these responsibilities in our country are segregated as follows. The national government responsibilities focuses on policy formulations, funding and resource allocation, capacity building, monitoring, and evaluation. Provincial government's responsibilities is district-based coordination and support, project implementation and technical assistance, monitoring, and evaluation. In local government responsibilities is district-based planning, human settlements planning, and land use management, bylaws and other regulations, infrastructure development, community engagement and participatory planning, environmental sustainability, economic development and livelihoods, monitoring and evaluation. I know some of you might see that some of the work has actually integrated. And one of the issues that we're trying to do from government point of view is to ensure that there's coordination amongst the three spheres of government. As human settlements, we are now starting to see the fruits, especially when it comes to our 8 metros. We coordinate, we plan, and we monitor and evaluate jointly. We do this through our MINMEC, where we have our MECs, but also representatives of SALGA, including our metro representatives. We will intensify this work in terms of coordinated planning, but also coordinated project implementation and monitoring and evaluation in the 7th administration. As we have had the President announce the top priorities for this government in terms of being able to work in a coordinated manner as government of national unity, ensuring that we are able to prioritize economic development, but also ensuring that we can be able to have sustainable development, but job creation in the ensuring that we sustain our economy and our democracy. You have heard the President, as he announced during the opening of Parliament, placing key role in ensuring that we can be, as a country, provide for affordable housing. And this is a key priority for us, but a challenge for us in an environment where in cities, for example, sometimes we are not able to find suitable land to be able to build or available land to build because they are clustered. And that's why part of the responsibilities and the work that we started in the 6th administration and will continue in the 7th administration, it's around ensuring that we work together with public works and infrastructure to redefine our inner cities and repurpose our buildings to utilize them for human settlements. But this will put pressure in our infrastructure in inner cities because majority of them were not designed for this particular purpose. And one of the issues I was sharing with the colleagues was that we're finding our cities unsuitable to be able to deal with the challenges of today. Now, as we reflect, we realize that having to retrofit, as I said earlier on, It's quite expensive, but it's a necessary exercise. So as we plan today, we are going to need to ensure that we understand what the current city's capacities are and design programs and responses so that we can be able to adapt and make sure that we do not end up, because of population growth in many areas, with sewers running on the streets because the capacity is not able to carry what we have currently. So to create a sustainable human settlements that lead to desired social and economic outcome, planning needs to undergo significant changes. And we are cognizant of this, and we are willing as government to be participant in partnership through this program. Through the district development model, all three spheres can play a role in ensuring that planning is coordinated and well-funded for sustainable implementation over time. I've said to my team, one of the areas that we've got to do is to enhance our public-private partnership through these areas and overall our work as the department. Now, given the unequal resource allocation between urban and rural areas, there needs to be an emphasis on the interconnectivity of urban and rural areas, ladies and gentlemen. This means looking at larger scale units, even up to and beyond municipal boundaries. The idea of functional regions is important. There are the territories across which people move between home and work, or where urban areas get their water supply, to give just a couple of examples of functional connections. Furthermore, an administrative divide between an urban core and sub or non-urban settlements can perpetuate inequalities. The district development model we are embarking on now goes some way to address this, but even taking a district-wide approach without proper planning may perpetuate divisions and misalignment. And one of the priorities that we're working on that we want to implement in this administration in 5-year strategic plan that we are finalizing is to have a master plan for all our districts as human settlements. We believe this will go a long way in everybody understanding what we intend to do, what our plans, and how they can partner with us in those districts to be able to ensure that we develop sustainable human settlements. Future sustainable human settlements need to recognize the importance of the informal sector. This is not exclusively because that is where many of the poorest people gain their income. The informal sector is also an expression of an incubator for entrepreneurship. So as we do our work, most of the time, we require formalization in how we work. And this has led to many people being closed out of the formal work, and also in terms of accessing opportunities. When visiting Kenya last year, we got to learn that many people, especially even your informal traders, were able to access formal housing by the virtue of them utilizing their own M-Pesa, which is not a formal banking, but a banking platform that is able to access them and provide for them a record of transactions. We are engaging financial sectors so that we can be able to ensure that as a country, we provide for all. Let us follow the UN Habitat International Guidelines on Urban and Territorial Planning that we helped develop, that we endorse, and that we then committed to implementing in the new urban agenda. Let us commit to cutting through blockages by responding to the reality of our urbanization as it is occurring, and not perpetuate colonial and apartheid special legacies. Let us reimagine planning and with people at the center, and with its primary goal to ensure social, economic, and environmental resilience of our communities. I welcome the return of the Planning Africa Conference after a long absence. I encourage us to have honest conversation about what is not working now, about what actions can realistically be undertaken given our resources and capacity constraints, and what we can overcome by working together. I wish us to establish a regular forum for all the planners of the human settlement sector to reframe and reimagine planning as a professional and area of work that supports the Global Sustainable Development Agenda, the African Development Agenda, and our National Development Vision. I'm open to hearing your suggestions, President of SAPI and participant of the 2024 Planning Africa Conference, on how such a forum can support these crucial objectives, and more importantly, how all of us can partner to build a better country, a better continent, and a better world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister, and I think we will take that as a charge for this Planning Africa Conference and the delegates in attendance. I now call upon Ms. Lushaba for the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Morning to the Minister, Deputy Mayor, all DDGs here today, all planners, colleagues, all protocol observed. I greet you guys in the name of sustainable development, like the pastors would say. I think it's correct for me to start with the igama lamakhosikazi. Malibongwe. We in charge, ladies. We here, we in charge. We've got a Minister of Human Settlements that's a woman in Women's Month. So we are ahead. Thank you so much. Mine today is very short. It is to appreciate our Minister and to thank her for gracing this event. My name is Lushaba. I am the Secretary General of SAPI nationally. I'm also a registered professional town planner in terms of SAPI, so yes. I'll just like to give a brief introduction. We all know that apartheid spatial planning has led to distortion of spatial patterns across the Republic. And since 1994, our government has indeed done a lot, taken great strides in trying to correct the latter. But however, we know, like the Minister just mentioned now, there are a lot of challenges, Minister, that still exist. And all these are caused by many issues you've already alluded to. It's quite hard to speak about things that is already mentioned and took the words right out of my mouth. But issues of land invasion, particularly in the fastest growing towns and cities in the Republic, is a big issue and is really working against all the strides that have been made to date. Also, haphazard development, where the Minister already lectured us that no, it's not something that's happening now, but it's historical issues that we are trying to deal with the department. So she would quickly shut us down from saying that. So, Minister, we do take that lesson as well. But we are encouraged that on the 1st of October last year, the Minister made a few commitments at the on the World Habitat Day, which was on the 1st of October last year, where she emphasized how she will be facilitating issues of private-public partnerships and the importance thereof in ensuring that we really do reach the goal of sustainable human settlements for the country. Also, the issue of rapid urbanization and how that needs to be managed and planned for correctly. To this effect, she's allocated 4 billion to the upgrading of informal settlements across the country. So, Minister, we note that, we appreciate that, and we are again raising our hand. We are here to assist to ensure that whatever it is that's implemented is indeed in line with municipal plans, etc. And lastly, in this Women's Month, as SAPI, we note the prioritization of women contractors in the fraternity of human settlements. We know, we've got colleagues here, planners, I'm not going to say the province, but most of them, leadership, they are women. And we have seen how contractors that are women have been prioritized in the sector. And as women in planning, I speak on behalf of all of us when I say we officially adopt her as our mother as well. We want to be involved. We want to be the planners that assist all those human settlements projects to ensure that they are indeed in line with the SDFs and all the other municipal plans that it needs to be aligned to. Lastly, our greatest wish as an organization, that is SAPI, we would like to be the voice that advocates towards change in issues of evidence-based planning, effective implementation of the Spatial Planning and Land Use Management Act, 16 of 2013, which is our Bible or should be our Bible as planners, but mostly the provision of decent human settlements for all people of South Africa. And that is our wish as we rejuvenate SAPI. Our biggest wish is to be really key and be the voice in those three aspects of development. And lastly, Minister, Honorable Minister, as SAPI, we wish to thank you so much for gracing this event and honoring us and coming here and really lecturing us. You know, as technocrats, oftentimes we think our political leaders, no, we're here, we're going to teach her a thing or two. But she gave us a piece of her mind, right, before we came in here. So we appreciate the knowledge. We appreciate that we've got leaders that know what's going on. And I say that in a very respectful manner. It's very encouraging to know that you are leading the space and you understand the things that you need to manage and lead. So we are really encouraged, and we look forward to that forum that the President will set up where we can discuss pertinent issues and make sure that we really are part and recognized as the profession of first instance in development. Because I know a lot of planners here in the forums that we've got, a lot of us feel like we are disregarded as planners. Our work is not taken into cognizance as the profession of first instance in any development that must take place. So today we are saying we are here, we are your children, whether you want us or not, we are in, we are your children, and we appreciate and thank you so much for the knowledge that you've imparted with us, and really for gracing us and honoring us and being part of this today. Thank you, planners. It's also very encouraging to see so many of us here. It shows us that you really wanted this. We want to plan together. We want to come together and make a change in the country. Thank you so much. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Sinclair. Delegates, that is the end of the welcome. If we could please rise for our distinguished guests to leave the stage. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. We can take our seats. Delegates, I won't be too much longer. Tea will be served out in the foyer. Just some housekeeping. Colleagues, delegates, I know I am stressing this. We are at capacity. And Johannes and myself have been receiving calls from 5 a.m. this morning asking to get into conference. Please, can you ensure that you have the event app on your phone? Just in case there are spaces that Open Conference Company will be letting us know within the next few hours, and we can try and facilitate registration or payment if you have been registered for conference. And then also take note on alerts on the app. Make sure that notifications are allowed on your phone. We also have been receiving queries on whether there is space for the gala dinner tomorrow. Between Conference Company, myself, and Johannes, we will look at during the course of tomorrow to see if there's any spaces that opens up, and that communication will feed directly through to the app under alerts. Thank you so much for this morning, and I look forward to bumping into everyone and networking as the conference goes on. Please, let's go for tea before the first plenary start. Thank you so much.